Hi, welcome to Language Hunt. My name is Willem Larson,
And I'm Reno Hart.
and we're going to introduce to you a simple explanation of how language hunting works. Now, there are several different ways of language hunting. Classic language hunting would be if I am in another country or in an immersion scenario and I run into a fluent speaker, a native speaker of the language, and I just pull language out by creating situations naturally and effortlessly, and maybe don't even use this board or because I have the skill, right? Then there are situations where perhaps I am a game leader for language hunting, and I found a fluent speaker, and I have this board and a bunch of players, and I pull language out of the fluent speaker and send it into the other players at the table because I'm just good at running games, right? And then the easiest scenario is when you're both fluent in the language you're going to be playing in, and you know how to run a language hunt game, right? That's what we'll be doing today. In fact, both Brian and I know enough Irish, at least I do, to play a simple game. So we'll be demonstrating that today. So here's our board. You can find this online, and you can just print it out and glue it to cardboard, or here we have it on a handy bandana. That's pretty fun. In the middle of the board goes your constraints for the game. So you'll notice that this has 2 people on it. Here we have one with 3 people on it. Those represent you and me, or you and me and he, she, they, right? So it's like three third person. So we're going to be limiting our game to just first and second person, right? You and me. The other thing to note is that you often can have you'll want to denote what your topic is for your game. So this card represents it's a food and drink game. And sure enough, whatever props we have, oh, look, we've got a cup of tea, right? So we'll just play a game with a cup of tea. Now, language hunt games require that you have physical props that you're actually talking about, something real. Not ideas, not abstractly, not as if they were here, but the game is the art of creating actual situations and environments, right? Like being a stage manager in a theater, right? You're creating the stage. So this board delineates all the language, all the questions that you're going to be asking and answering in these situations. Now, each of these squares, as the game leader, your job is to try and solve the square by setting up a situation that evokes that language. So the squares are the questions of journalism: what, who, where, how many, which, when, why, and how, right? So we're going to ask and answer all those questions as we go around and create different situations that bubble those up in first and second person conversations in our target language. That's pretty much the entire art of language hunt games. So, and again, as a game leader, I'm using my creativity to create an evocative situation that makes that language just naturally emerge. So a classic answer to this what square is a short conversation on what is that, right? What is that?
That's a cup of tea.
Is that a cup of tea?
Yeah, that's a cup of tea.
There we go. Solved the question. And I even added a little affirmation round. Is that a cup of tea? Right? So, so once we have that, and I ask, and my other player asks and answers, well, we can move to the next square, right? But let's do that. Let's show you how that's done in our target language. Again, remember, language hunting can be an approach all on its own terms, or it can be a really valuable support for other language learning education activities that you're doing, such as classroom activities, studying textbooks, grammar books, phrase books, right? So what you can do is pull from those resources and create games at the table, right? especially if you're both the language guide and the speaker, you can create these situations and solve the and troubleshoot games that work really well, and then run them by a fluent speaker. But let's try this in Irish. Keep in mind that in a game we only play in one language, right? We wouldn't do any translating, whatever. The whole goal of language hunting is to create a new language brain entirely immersed in the target language. Save translation and other kinds of activities for outside the language hunting game. You know, when you're working on your grammar texts or in your classroom environment, right? Okay, so let's try that first square. So what's a
Should I feed the language?
yeah? Why don't you feed him?
Cad seo.
Is cupon te Asian?
An cupán té seo.
Sha is cupon te Asian. Kade sha.
Is cupán té seo.
Un cupon te Asian.
Sé is cupán té seo.
There we go. That's we solved the first square. And because we went over it in English already, you probably know everything that we just said. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is that you'll probably notice our hands move a little bit. Breen and I are really used to running these games with the support of Pigeon Signed English or some ASL, American Sign Language signs. Any gestures work, any signed language can help support making these ideas or making the language more clear and more obvious. Certainly pointing, like I want it, but do you want it? You can do anything you want. Its gestures aren't required, but they can be a really fun and valuable support for keeping the conversation going. Was there anything that...
Should we play around using our hands?
Yeah, let's do that.
Cad seo.
Is cupon te Asian?
An cupán té seo.
Sha. Is cupon te Asian? Right? So you notice that I used a sign for almost everything I said. You can do that. You could go, is cupon te Asian? You know, it's not about correct signs or using American Sign Language just right. But if you do use signs, you do want all the players to use the same signs, for sure, right? So that is like the simplest version of the game. I hope you enjoyed it. Next time, we'll be talking more about setting up these conversational situations to solve those squares. Thanks.
Slán.